Hello everyone, this is Bacall Towns, GCAC's second vice president. On behalf of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, Gwinnett County Alumni Chapter, and our chapter president, Sora Candace Bush, I want to welcome you to our 2021 May Week program. The Arts and Letters Commission is a key component for Delta. We appreciate you tuning into this session of Delta Author Spotlight 60-minute edition as we bring focus to a few incredible authors. The Spotlight program was brought to you by our Arts and Letters Committee led by our soror, Tamika Skeet. We want to take time today to spotlight the following Delta authors: Dr. Marcia Cradle, Dr. Laura Bailey, Tracy Knight, Terry Crook, and Reverend J. Lynn Peabody Smith. As you learn more about them, their experiences, and the books that they have written, we sincerely hope that you enjoy today's session and can support them following this program. We pray that you, as well as your family and friends, stay safe. Thank you again for joining and enjoy.
Hello, and welcome to our very first virtual Delta Author Spotlight, a 60 Minutes edition. My name is Stacy Poteet, and I am serving as the chair of the May Week Committee this year. Keeping in line with the purpose of May Week in recognizing women leaders and promoting women's empowerment, it seemed very appropriate that we take this time to engage with some of my sorors, the devastating divas of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, who are leaving their literary footprints in the arena of writing. We are so excited that you have decided to tune in today to hear from these amazing women who are blazing trails in their professions, communities, as well as their homes. The purpose of May Week is to promote women's empowerment, so we encourage you to go to our website, gwinnettdst.org, for May Week events. Thank you.
Hello, we are coming to you with a special news recording from the Gwinnett County Alumni Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. I am Nina Scott, an excited reporter here to bring the story right to you.
And I'm Cheryl Hunter Rowland, and we have some exciting authors that you're going to hear from today. I promise you they will not disappoint.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have Sora J here to give us a little insight on Heels, Hearts, and Halos, Lessons on My Journey. Sora J, how are you doing today?
I am wonderful. How are you?
I cannot complain. Thank you. We are so excited, and thank you for being with us here today.
It is my pleasure.
Yes. So let's just go ahead and get started. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Let's see. I am an ordained minister. From 2016 to 2020, I served as the Southern Regional Chaplain for Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. I am currently an executive pastor at Redemptive Life Christian Fellowship, which is on the border of Lithonia and Conyers. On top of that, I am a licensed professional counselor. And so I provide mostly individual and couples counseling. And I also supervise those that are getting their counseling hours. But my two favorite roles, I would say, would be being Tommy Smith's wife. And we are a blended family. We have 7 amazing children.
Awesome. And on top of all of that, you are an author.
Yes.
So tell us about the theme of your book. How did you come up with that?
Okay, well, Heels, Hearts, and Halos is really a collection of short stories that I either have experienced or I've heard along the way. And most of them are from my experiences. And I would use them in preaching moments or teaching moments as a way to kind of convey a message. I believe that God talks to all of us different. And for me, because I'm always so active, kind of sitting and meditating works for a lot of people. But for me, it's not the best way for me to hear from God. I hear from God from other people and through my children and through experiences. And so I like to take that and use them as storytelling. And so people kept saying you should put them in a book, put these stories that I have learned along the way into a book. And so I thought about it for a really long time. And it was kind of my husband that really pushed me to do it. And what was so interesting is when I wrote it, I thought nobody was going to read it, which kind of tells you where my faith was at that time. So I didn't really spend a whole lot of time doing edits and all that kind of stuff. I'm doing that now, but in the beginning, I just wanted to kind of get it done, get it off of my shelf, so to speak. But I have been so grateful in the way that the stories have spoken to people, and so people can kind of hear through God through those stories.
Yeah, awesome. So you gave us a little bit about how your personal experiences kind of helped you through this writing process. But is there anything else personally that you experienced that kind of gave you that extra push or gave you that extra story that kind of have you seen as the comeback, of what people are saying they're receiving from this book? So talk to us a little bit about that.
Sure. I'm an open book myself. So the stories are mostly just things that I've experienced. I often joke that God took me from the pit to the pulpit. When I started out as an adult, I didn't have very much self-esteem. Some people would say that I was a little bit of a juvenile delinquent and that I wouldn't make it to 30, or by the time I did, I would be dead or locked up. But through life, God has just continued to bless me and show me different ways. I always say we find God in our broken moments is when we often find God. And so the story is the collection of a lot of broken moments where we saw God. Either I saw God or we saw God through somebody else. And so what I love about it is that for each story, somebody has been able to read it and feel inspired or feel blessed. And that was kind of my prayer. I didn't write it to become famous or make money or anything. I wanted to share my testimony and hope that somebody would be blessed. Mm-hmm. So when somebody reads in the book that I was sexually assaulted in college and was able to forgive, it opens up their hearts and their minds that maybe they too can live in forgiveness. Mm-hmm. Or when I talk about a young boy who was afraid to cry when his mom died. And I talk about how tears are not a sign of our weakness, they're a sign of worship. Mm-hmm. And that I hear people constantly saying, I want to cry, and reading that allowed me or gave me permission to cry. So it's moments like that really bless my soul, because I believe in blessing God.
Yeah, awesome. It sounds like you're really speaking from a place of authenticity in this book. And I think that's so relatable. And that's something that a lot of people are searching for. So it sounds like it's just really relevant and right on time. With that being said, we are about a year into uncharted territories, I like to say, as it relates to this COVID-19. Tell us how your book is relevant to what many are experiencing in today's time.
Sure. It's interesting because I recognize that some people will buy the book and they'll read it and they'll put it down. But during this pandemic, I've gotten more people reaching out about the book and saying that they've had time to really sit with it and read it, and was able to connect with some of the things that they have been going through, especially in this last year, because the book talks about grief. It talks about being alone, about not knowing what to do, about not feeling good enough, all of those things. And so people were able to kind of really connect during this time. And because I do try to be my authentic self, good, bad, or indifferent, when people read it, they sometimes feel like they're just talking with me. And so it kind of helps with still feeling connected, even though that we were so far apart. So I always say the pandemic is like, we're all in the same storm, but different boats, meaning we're having different experiences. And I believe that there are parts of the book that were able to speak to people in almost every experience. Mm-hmm. My kids and we read the book again. I speak about my kids a lot in the book because they teach me so much. And we kind of read it together again and just kind of laughing and having some tears about some of the things that we've experienced together.
Yeah. Tell me, Sora J, if there was one thing that you could give through this book to someone, in spite of the stories, in spite of your experiences that you have already expressed that you're sharing, if you could give one additional thing to someone reading this book, what would that be?
That they would find God in the most unexpected places, because really that's what the stories are about. Oftentimes, when we're going through our hard times, when we are doubting ourselves, when we're heartbroken, we're wondering, where's God? And what this book teaches is that God speaks to us. I say God winks at us. God gives us a little something, maybe through somebody else, during those darkest moments. And so my prayer is that somebody, whether they're feeling alone or feeling not good enough or feeling just tired, that they can read this and either in the book or in their own lives find God in the most unexpected places, especially during our dark times.
You have really shared so much of yourself, not only in the book, but in these short few minutes. I wish we could go on and on and on. If anyone wanted to get more information from you, Sora J, how could they do that?
Sure. The best way would be through my website, which is thepeabodypractice.com. And then I'm also on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Reverend J.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Sora J. And we really are excited about what this book is not only going to do for you, but for the masses that are out there. So thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having me. I so appreciate it.
Awesome. Awesome. Have a wonderful day.
You too.
And welcome back, everyone. I'm very excited to introduce our next author, Sora Tracy Knight. Welcome, Sora Tracy Knight.
Good afternoon, Cheryl. I'm so happy to be here. I'm just elated to have been invited to be here to be able to share something intriguing, perhaps, about my book.
Yes, that's awesome. We're excited to hear about it. Ladies and gentlemen, Sora Tracy is the author of a book that's titled It's You Against You. And we're going to learn more about her book today. So, Sora Tracy, why don't you start by telling us a little bit about yourself?
Yes, so my name is Tracy Knight, and I'm your self-mastery coach. I know you might be wondering, really, what is that? And I think it might be helpful if I kind of tell you a little bit about myself and what my philosophy is. I believe that life is a game of self-mastery, one that I've been engaged in for more than 20 years. When I figured out that I had done all of the things that people tell you to do in order to be successful, which is to go to school, get degrees, get you a boo, get married, buy houses, cars, go on vacations. And when you do all of that with your very successful career, you will be happy. And what I discovered in my more than 51 years on this planet is that don't work. That doesn't necessarily work. That does not mean that you're going to be happy, because if you're anything like me, somewhere in maybe your late 30s and 40s, you begin to say, is this all that there is? And I was waking up sometimes really crying, not really from a state of depression, but just really feeling like there has to be something more to life than just this. I had all the, what I would call the trappings of success. And so I really started this journey of trying to discover what that is. And what I found is that it was a discovery. It was a journey to discovering myself.
Wow, I think so many people out there could relate to what you're talking about, because it's something that as women we often go through, and we kind of wake up and like, we have this, we have that, and then it's kind of like, but I'm still not happy. So a lot of people could relate to that.
For sure.
Sora Tracy, you're a member of Delta Sigma Theta. Can you tell us when you were initiated in the sisterhood?
Absolutely. So I am a proud member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. I was initiated at the Delta Kappa chapter at Central State University in Wilberforce, Ohio. So in 1990, and that's right across the street from Beta chapter at Wilberforce. I've been in the sorority for a long time now, and I've seen a lot of things happen. And what I see and what I know for sure is that at our core, we are really super powerful, ambitious women who really want to have it all. And yet sometimes we're not always able to figure out how to actually get to that. Sometimes we even feel ashamed of wanting something more than what we already have, because many of us feel so very blessed, as do I. And this thing about wanting something more in our life sometimes eludes us. And sometimes we even shrink to even asking or pursuing what that more is. So that's a very long way of actually telling you that I've come out of Wilberforce, Ohio, and I now live here in Atlanta, Georgia, and I'm a part of the proud East Point College Park chapter.
That's awesome, Sora Tracy. So let me ask you this, from your own personal experiences, how did that influence the subject and the theme of your book?
Yeah, I think that's a great question, Cheryl, because that's what really put me on this journey to learning how to master myself. You know, much like most Soras out there and most women out there, you know, we've been taught to really go to school, get degrees, get a great job and career, get a boo, get married, collect a lot of stuff, and then you'll be happy. But we know that that is really not the way that it works at all. And so I can remember, you know, there was a period of time in my life where I was actually waking up crying, and I was like, God, if there is something else, you know, please reveal that to me. I said, but if this is all that there is, I will try to do my best to just be happy with it. But feels like there has to be something more in life for me. So that particular day, I happened to go to church. And after church, I landed in a wellness center where I would meet the woman who would later become my life coach. Her name is Milani Shani, and I always speak her name because I believe in paying homage. So I go out there to this wellness center. Coaching was not popular at that time. Nobody knew what coaching was at that time. She helped me to understand that she was a very objective party that would help me sort of sort through what was really standing in the way. And so I really felt like I had done everything that I could do personally. So I was willing to try anything because I really wanted to affect change in my life. And I think that's critical when we talk about this particular book, is that you have to actually want it. You have to want something different, because everything I've ever gotten, I worked for, I've earned it. And that's what this journey was getting ready to be about. So every week I was going to Milani for my coaching session, and she has a very strong personality, as do I, in case you haven't figured that out. And she would say, so Tracy, she'd open up and she'd say, well, how are you feeling today? And then I would say, oh, well, I think that if my husband would do this, and if my bonus son would do that, and if my clients would do this, then I would be happy. And she would say, I didn't ask you what you think, I asked you what you were feeling. And I said, I told you what I'm feeling. She said, no, you told me what you think. I didn't really know what she was talking about. So I'd go away, come back, and the next week would be the same thing. So this went on probably for about a month or so. And being the brilliant person that I am, I was like, she is not going to beat me at this. What is she talking about? So I go home and I Google feelings. And what comes up is this diagram that is called the feeling wheel, which you can Google yourself. And the feeling wheel actually lays out some of the core feelings and then sort of the derivative emotions, the way that we express or emote energy out based on a feeling that we're having. So I print it off, I fold it up, put it in my purse. And then when I go to my coaching session this time, and she was like, so Tracy, what are you feeling? I go in my purse and I was like, I am feeling anxious. And I feel very overwhelmed because I have a lot on me. And I really sometimes feel insecure and sometimes inferior. And so she said, did you just whip out a list of feelings to start reading off? And I said, no. I said, but what I did find was this tool, which she uses that in her coaching practice, and so do I. But the moral of that story is that I didn't know what I felt. I had spent so much time in the process of intellectualizing life and just getting at it, hustling, grinding, which is what a lot of women do. We hustle, we grind, trying to get to have it all. All of us want to have healthy bodies and a sound mind, and we want to look good and feel great. We want compatible partners. We want great sex and a sense of purpose and meaning. We want to be able to contribute to the world in a way that creates a legacy for us. We want financial security and stability. We want amazing friends. We want to be acknowledged. Hello. We want to have some fun and excitement. We want peace. We want joy. And most of all, we want the freedom to be ourselves. But that journey to getting to all of that is not done by acquiring the little S's of life, the little successes of life. Life, what I found and what on this journey through coaching and then becoming a coach, is that it was always me against me. And really what I want is for it to be me for me. I had created so many systems where I was spending all my time trying to create myself outside of myself, but the place where I find most contentment, most satisfaction is when I am challenging myself to become the next iteration of myself, where I'm learning how to become more courageous so that my fears are not chasing me down, where I am learning how to use my motivation to to tackle some of those goals that eluded me. Things like becoming a runner at 50. And now, I remember a year and a half ago where I was like, I just want to be able to run a 5K, and I'm running a 10K every week.
Wow.
Okay, so I'm talking about where you have the strength to confront things that maybe have gone awry, relationships that you've damaged over the years, where you have the ability, the confidence to start being more proactive instead of reactive and procrastinating in your life. Time waits for no man or woman.
Not
and
at
so
all.
this journey is about self-mastery. And what I'm really just realizing, quite honestly, is that women work way too hard. We never seem to catch up ever or have enough time for ourselves. We oftentimes perform very well in multiple tasks, and people come to us because they know that we will get it done, but it's at a cost. And the cost is our own sanity, the burnout, the inability to really juggle all of the competing demands without sacrificing the essence of who we are. Oftentimes we don't have the margin to be able to give more, but we go into our reserves in order to pull out whatever last bit of energy we have just to pour it out to somebody else. So this book and all of my coaching programs are really all about you reclaiming your power and learning how to not only be in this game, but to enjoy every minute of every second of every experience that you have along the way.
Oh my God. Did you write this book for me?
Well, I attract people who are like me.
You're my sorority sister. You must know. You just spoke to me, Sora Tracy. You really did.
Yeah.
Wow. So there is definitely a lot there that so many women can appreciate and learn from in your book. If there is one theme or one takeaway that you want people to get out of your book, what would you say that is?
Yeah. I think the main message here, and the name of my signature coaching program, is really get out of your own way. It's not about anybody else. I know that I talked to my BFF yesterday, and she had a long list of all the things that are keeping her from, becoming great, becoming the genius that she innately is, that she already is. She was divinely ordered to be. And so if there's one message, it's that it's you. You're the only thing that is standing in the way of unleashing your greatness. And if you have the courage and the conviction, and you are willing to reveal yourself to yourself, you can live a remarkably joyful, abundant life. You can have it all. It's already given to you. The question is, are you willing to chase yourself to get it?
All right, Sora Tracy, how do we find you? How do we get more information? How do we get a hold of this book?
Yeah, so everything. You can contact me. You can find me on every social media platform, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, at I am Tracy Knight. And Tracy is spelled Tracey, and Knight is with a K, Knight. I am Tracy Knight. My website is iamtracyknight.com. Make it very simple for you. And whenever you are ready to take back, transform, and win at your own life, we're here. Remember, it's you against you. We want to help to show you how to make it you for you. That's it.
That's awesome. Thank you very much, Sora Tracy. I am a believer and I cannot wait to learn more. So, thank you so much for sharing your book with us and sharing your story and your journey, one that we all can relate to. And it's awesome. Love it. Thank you so
Thank you
much for
so much,
joining us
Sora
today.
Cheryl. Thank you. Take good care, all.
All righty.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are back for another awesome interview. We have Sora Marcia here with The Battle Is Not Yours, It's Ours. Sora Marcia, how are you today?
I am doing well. Thank you for asking.
Yes. Start off, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, I'm originally from a small town in North Carolina, New Bern, North Carolina, the city by the bay. But I've been a member of Delta Sigma Theta since the spring of 1983. And I am always excited to have the opportunity to talk to my sorors. I'm a wife, a mom, an educator, all those things all rolled into one, and an author.
And an author. I was going to
Yes.
say it reads on your shirt. I am an author. So awesome. Speaking of you being an author, tell us how you came up with the theme of this work.
Well, it started back in 2016. I was going into work one morning, running a tad bit behind, kind of rushing, and I saw a coworker, and I said, good morning, how are you? And I really didn't intend for her to answer. I was just being polite. And she said, I'm not doing well. And so I had to stop. And I said, well, I'll just be late. And so I stopped and asked her if it was okay if I prayed with her. And so we did, we prayed. And then I asked her if I could send her some words of encouragement later in the day. And she said, please do. And so I started sending her something every few days, just a little pick me up, just something to encourage and inspire her. And after the first week or so, she asked me, could she share what I sent to her with others? And I said, of course. And it just grew from there. And then one of my sisters-in-law said, you're really writing a book. And I was like, I don't know. And so, but I prayed about it, and God said, I've been trying to tell you that. You had to hear it from someone else too. And that's what I've been trying to tell you. And so that's how the first book came about, and it became a series. I've now written 3 women's empowerment books, and it's just been amazing. So I'm thankful that morning that she said what she said, and God used me to help her.
Awesome. So I like what you said, that in that specific moment, you recall having that experience with her, and that led you kind of to on this path of writing this book. But share with us, let's go beyond that, about your personal experiences that have kind of aided you to write these stories, these 3 books in this series.
Sure. I know for me, and it might sound sort of like it's a cliche, but my mom was the first person to really just encourage me and try to empower me with things that she could see in me that I couldn't see. And so, and I'll just share with you one of the things. I was really kind of shy. I know it's hard to believe, but I was kind of shy. And, she's like, just speak up. Just when you see people, even if you don't necessarily say something, have a smile on your face so that it opens you up to people wanting to talk to you. And I think it's really important as women, and especially African American women, we take the time to encourage and empower somebody else, because somebody had to do it for us. There's nobody out there. And I know some people say, I'm a self-made person. There's nobody out there that didn't have somebody drop a little nugget in their ear, or, just to tell them, yes, you can. I believe in you. I appreciate you. I'm really big on telling the people that we walk around saying, I love you. but you have to show them love is a verb. So you have to show them, I appreciate you. I just want to let you know I see you. So I think that's really important. So my mom was one of the first people, and then some teachers that I had were others who said, Marcia, just keep pushing. And it's really important that you have somebody in your corner doing that. I think everybody should walk around with a cheerleader. Somebody saying, "Go, Marcia, go, Nina, do it, you can do it." That's an old cheer from when I was growing up. Yes, you can. But just someone encouraging and pushing you to be the best version of you possible.
Awesome. So you talk about just the motivation and the encouragement that you had in your life that has fed you, the motivation and encouragement that you have put into these books to feed others. What are some of the other things that you would really like for your readers to take away from your books?
I'd like them to take away that everything that looks all pretty, one of my talks, I have to say this, is don't let the suit fool you. Because sometimes we see people and we see them, like today, even I got my hair done, got my makeup done, but you don't know some of the things that went into that person getting to where they are right now. And so we can't be fooled and we can't be hindered by the things that we've been through. Mm-hmm. Everybody goes through something. So I want women to take away from this that I'm not alone. There's somebody else out there who has been through something similar to what I'm going through. And somebody out there can help me. Somebody can support me. Somebody will do just that. They will step in and encourage me. So that's the main thing I want them to take away, that find a mentor. Find a mentor. And if you know you have that gift or skill, use it. Don't keep all your goodness to yourself. It's not fair. So take that information, mentor somebody, and always remember, because I do have to say too, that sometimes people think, well, if I help her, then I'm going to take away from me. But the exact opposite is true. When you help someone else, it's pushing you to another, because they're going to say, you know what, Marcia helped me. And I want you to go see her, talk to her, because she can probably help you too. So it's going to help you expand your scope of influence, and be willing to expand it. Don't keep it all inside. You're a gift. Share it.
I like what you said. Share it, because you holding on to it is not fair. I am taking that and I am borrowing that, and I will give you for it. So we are doing a Delta Author Spotlight, and you are surrounded by beautiful women who are empowering and encouraging all the time. So tell us specifically, how has the sisterhood influenced your writing?
I have to say that I remember my first book signing when I wrote the first book, and I thought, nobody's gonna come. But when I tell you the Sora showed up, showed out, bought books, it was amazing. And to just know that I have a sisterhood of so many women that will just support you. I mean, if you're selling Girl Scout cookies, they'll support you. If whatever, when I did the popcorn thing, I was reaching out to people. I'm like, I need you to buy some popcorn. So that's the beautiful thing about Delta. When you let them know, when you let Soras know what you're doing, what your vision is, what your hope is, they're going to support you. And you walk around and you were like, oh, I got sisters here, over there, over here, over there. Don't. So they are here for me, so don't.
yes, don't come.
Right.
So, Marcia, tell me how relatable and timely is your book right now, in spite of all that we are experiencing in our communities?
Yeah, I will tell you, the latest book is Grateful for the Journey. And I think it's so timely because we are going through something in this country, in this world right now. And we have to look at the journey that we've taken and think about the things that we've been through. Because like I said, everybody's been through something. If they say they haven't, as the old people used to say, just keep on living. We've all been through something. So it's relatable because it shows us that, hey, these things happen, but they didn't give up. They didn't quit. They didn't stop. They kept pushing. And that's what I encourage anybody that I mentor. Keep pushing. It might not happen today, but it's going to happen. So just keep pushing. And that's what we have to do. Even in times like this, is keep pushing.
You have really, in a short time span, giving us so much encouragement and motivation. There's so many things to hold on to get us to keep pushing and to know that we can do it. So thank you so much for your time.
Oh, you are most welcome.
Yes, please tell us how we can find out more about what you're doing and stay connected with you.
Okay, awesome. The best way is to look at my my website. It's www.credle, and that's CREDLE consulting.com. You can find what I'm doing. I have a blog as well. So you'll be able to go there. And I just posted a new blog today, and it's called Women Empowering Women. So listen to that. So you can just find out what I'm doing, where I'll be, and what's coming up with my life. Or you can always email me at marciacradle@gmail.com. Send a carrier pigeon. I'll find me. I'll come.
Awesome. We will be sure to stay connected with you. Thank you so much, Sora Marcia, for your time. And we know that you have much empowering and motivation left in you to do. So thank you for that work. Good afternoon. Welcome, Sora Bailey, to this interview. We are so excited to have you here today. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Thank you for inviting me, Sora Scott. Well, I have spent the last 4 years running a nonprofit. It's called Ed Causes Incorporated. I began my journey as an author by requirement from higher education. I was a professor of higher education for the last 19 years and spent time conducting research that led to me writing several books, the last of which is the book that we'll discuss. Most of the work that I do revolves around supporting the work that teachers do in a classroom to support young children, especially minority children who have difficulties acquiring mathematical concepts. Another aspect of the work that I do is to support community leaders and universities and other people who are very vested in the work that involves children, especially the youngest children, ages birth through 8 years old. And so with that, I can sum up by saying the last 19 years of my life, Sora Scott, has been serving young children and their families and the communities where they live.
Awesome. Well, I think we are in a perfect time in our society, in our world, to talk about that service, and specifically our children, as they have been highly affected around what's going on in the world today. So specifically speaking, you gave a good trailway over to implementing a standards-based curriculum in the early childhood classroom. Tell us about how you came up with the theme of that title or that book.
Well, Sora Scott, I was actually invited to write this book by Mary Jalango, who was the publisher for Springer Publications back in 2015. We had just come out with the Common Core State Standards, and I had been really spending the last 18 years of my life at the time writing about early childhood education, ways to develop early childhood curriculum, especially around mathematics standards. And so she pretty much thought that I would be a good author to pull together a collection, if you will, of authors who would then also contribute to a running series that Springer had. And so I wrote the book for Springer, and just at the very end of our cycle for publication, right before publication, Dr. Jalango decided that they no longer wanted to be so tied to the Common Core State Standards. And so she handed my book off to Taylor. and Francis, which is one of the highest regarded publications in education. So I really was honored to have it handed off. Of course, it kind of made me a little stressed at the time that it was handed off, but it turned out to be a blessing in disguise. And so I collected some of the biggest named gurus in the field of early childhood math education, such as Douglas Clements, Julie Sarama, and the likes. And so ended up with a wonderfully written book that is highly regarded in the early childhood community, and is widely distributed amongst teacher educators.
Yeah, awesome. So you gave us a good background as to how you were invited to participate with this work. Tell us specifically, though, how have your personal experiences allowed you to give so much to this actual project?
Well, I can say that I started out at the University of South Carolina in 2002, conducting research around how to improve mathematics education for young children, especially those who are from high impoverished backgrounds and attended Title I schools. And so that research itself led me to really appreciate the importance of teacher training to understand how young children acquire math concepts. But it also helped me to gain an appreciation for the importance for training families for how they can engage their own children in mathematics learning at home. And so you'll see that there is a twofold emphasis in this book. One for ensuring that we train teachers to learn the standards and to embed the most appropriate content, developmentally appropriate content. But also each author has a section that allows teachers to better engage families in the work that they do in K-12 schools. So all of that background, starting with the University of South Carolina and then extending to the University of Louisville, where I published more work on how to improve middle school math education. And I was recruited back to my alma mater, Auburn University, and expanded upon that work. And so it really has compounded to the point where I was literally invited to do this piece. So I would say that my whole life as a researcher in early childhood mathematics led to this book.
Awesome. Well, you opened the door for my next question, and it's a perfect segue. You talk about how this book can be relatable to parents and families in working with their middle school and their education with their students.
Yes.
We are about at a year that we have been, engrossed in new uncharted territories as it relates to the pandemic, COVID-19. How can your book help these families and these parents who have found themselves now teachers, now, doing lesson plans, doing things that they've never had to do before? How can your book specifically help them ensure that their children do not lack in terms of their education?
Oh, that's an excellent question, Sora Scott. And I think about that question more now than I ever thought that I would. Of course, who would have imagined that we'd ever be in a pandemic? So I've spent a lot of time thinking about this book and really reintroducing it to the education community just because of your question. And so I have had several conversations with school districts, with teachers, with family groups, really urging them to examine this book for three different reasons. For teachers, examining this book for looking at how they can use their state standards, their district-wide math standards to embed just the right type of content and standard focus so that they can be sure that they are writing lessons that are effective for engaging young children, especially those who are poor. But for families, we have a whole entree, if you will, Sora Scott, of different strategies that families can use at home in this book. So I have reintroduced this book to the family community, parents, guardians, and the like, to let them know about ways they can engage their own children at home with home learning. For example, when they're cooking, there's measurement involved. When they are actually, taking out eggs, how many eggs? And so for young children, those are very instrumental questions to lead them to understand the answer to how many. Because if you can't count and stop at 1, 2, 3, how many do you have? 3. then that's a very difficult concept for children to ever acquire. So just having those kinds of conversations, Sora Scott, with both families and with teachers. And the third aspect is to bring in the entire school, but local community that is really interested in supporting children on a more global level. After school programs, before school programs, science programs, and the like.
Awesome. I love how you are reintroducing this book. I think it's so timely. I think it's so necessary and relevant. And I really feel like now is the time for people to grasp the understanding of the concepts that you're sharing. So I love that idea of reintroducing and, you know, just making it relevant to what's going on around us today. So I love that.
Couldn't agree more. Thank you.
Awesome. So I have a bit of an abstract question for you in terms of the content of your book. In terms of curriculum building or strategy building, another aspect of where we are today is highlighting our mental health. And so how can you tell us, if you can, how can we transfer some of these skills that you are and strategies that you're expressing in the book to the mental health, you know, diaspora, the mental health dynamic? Tell us if there's a way that we could relate that.
Yes, and so I'll just speak in a general sense. The whole idea is that you can, right? And so a lot of times we get desperate in thinking that there is something new that is now presenting itself to me and I can't. Within this book, the whole notion is that all children can learn mathematics and that all families want to be involved with the work that their children do at school. So here we're in a new whole life, if you will, being presented with so many different things. For me, working almost solely at home, I can do it. I did it. But knowing that there is no new thing that is presented to you that you really can't do with the right strategy.
I love that. That is so awesome, Sora Bailey. You have just hit on so many aspects that you would not necessarily think, looking at your title, that you would be able to gain from this book, right? So thank you so much for giving us a little bit of insight into so many concepts and so many subjects that we can really focus on just through your book. So thank you so much for your time. Before we get out of here, I would like to give you an opportunity to let us know if we're interested in getting in contact with you or more about you. Where can we do that?
Oh, thank you for the question. Yes, you can reach me most expediently on edcauses.org. That's edcauses.org. Or you can reach me. There's a phone number there for me too, if you do check that link. I also have a Facebook account, edcauses.org, through Laura Bailey. And so I would love to hear from anyone who has a question about how to engage their children more in mathematics, because that's a real important aspect of what children do on a daily basis that will lead them to be successful in life. So I also work a little bit in higher education with Georgia State University. So there's a lot of different ways that they can contact me. You can find the book itself on Amazon.com. So please find it. It is implementing a standards-based curriculum in the early childhood classroom, and it's edited by myself, Laura Bailey.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your time, Sora Bailey. We hope that you enjoy the rest of your day.
Oh, it's been a pleasure, Sora Scott, and thank you for the invitation.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I'm so excited to come back to you today and bring the fabulous Sora Terry Crook, who is going to have the opportunity to speak with us today about her book, It's Only Halftime, Your Playbook to Your Second Wind. Welcome, Sora Terry Crook.
Thank you. It is such an honor to be here and to share my book with everyone. Hi, everybody. And let me tell you something. You're in for a treat because It's Only Halftime is just telling each and every one of you that despite your age, despite your circumstances, no matter what the clock is saying on the game field, life might be saying the score is 6 and the score for you may be 0. But let me tell you, it's only halftime. You are still in the game.
Could you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yes. Well, I am a motivational speaker. I am an author, as you just mentioned, helping women to get that second win. But I am also, I present workshops, and I'm helping people that are ready to get that second win in life, but just don't know how to do it.
I understand. And where are you from, Sora Crook?
I'm originally from Columbus, Georgia. Okay. And so I'm a Georgia peach. However, when I finished high school, I relocated to Florida, where I went to school at Florida State University. Go Noles!
Yes.
and so I lived in South Florida, in Fort Lauderdale, until I retired from the federal government and relocated to Atlanta to be closer to my family.
Awesome. So tell us about when and where you were initiated into Delta Sigma Theta.
Well, I was initiated at Florida State University Kappa Epsilon chapter. Mm-hmm. Now, okay, I normally tell people that I graduated from high school in 78. Not that I pledged.
Oh.
but I actually pledged fall of 77 at Florida State University Kappa Epsilon chapter.
Awesome. Well, tell us a little bit about how you got into writing. How did this all start for you?
Well, it started with my life. Okay. I started, what happened, I had gone to a speaker's training. I participated in a speaker's training with Les Brown, and I became one of his platinum speakers. And so he said, it would be really nice if you could create a book, have that book, because you're so good in drawing people in and giving them all those nuggets. But having that book at the end for them to take home with them, in addition to the nuggets that you're giving them, would be an added bonus. And then I went, okay, Les. So if I do that, that means I got to reveal some truths. Mm-hmm. And so I did. And it was so refreshing for me to do that, because it released me, as well as releasing further truths to others to help them. So that's how I got started, even though I didn't publish the book until several years later.
Mm-hmm. So really you started by doing it for yourself and then releasing your truth out to the world. That's
exactly.
What it sounds like. That's exactly. Awesome. Mm-hmm. Well, tell us about this book. Tell us about what it means to you and what it's about. Tell us a little bit about it.
Well, what this book is going to do, because I give a lot of little, I start out talking to people about how I mismanaged myself with my career, my relationships, and my relationship with money. Okay. Yeah. And just with eating. And so I just started opening up about some of the things that I was doing wrong. And I realized that it was some bad habits that I had created, because the saying, you attract who you are inside. And so I was attracting different things coming to me because of what I was dealing with on the inside. Mm-hmm. So, and as I was getting older, I just started thinking about, hey, you're too old to be doing certain things. You need to kind of switch it up and get better, because you are approaching the halftime in your life. Mm-hmm. And so I just started looking at things from that standpoint. And then it was just so easy to put it on paper as I started revealing some of my own truths, to be able to relate to the truths of others.
Right, right. And what would you like the readers who read your book to take away from some of the messages and the subject matter in your book?
One of the things that I want the readers to take away from, and this is particularly those who may be over 40, about to approach retirement, I just want them to understand that there's peace um, after you get tackled financially. Okay. And in my book, I take you through introspection, okay, to find out what's causing some of the things that you're doing that could be wrong, okay? And see, what I do, it's like going into the locker room, okay, during halftime of a game. You go into the locker room and you consult with your coach. Okay. And so I'm allowing people through this book to go into the locker room so they can consult with their coach and figure out, okay, first of all, did I have a game plan before I got on the field? Because if you didn't have a game plan, this is where I'm going to help you develop your game plan. Okay. And then the book is going to give you the courage to apply the game plan. And that's what this whole book is all about, just helping people to come up with their game plan so that they can achieve those dreams. Because a lot of people think that, if they're over 40 or despite their circumstances or according to the circumstances, that they can't achieve those dreams. But I'm saying to them, it's not about the time it takes to get there. It's taking the time to get there. And you got to have a plan. Football players don't go on that field without a game plan. And then if that game plan is not working, they go back in that locker room and sometimes even on the sidelines and they readjust that game plan. But you got to have a game plan. So the book is the starting point for developing that game plan.
That is awesome. That sounds like a fabulous message that all of us really need to hear in your book. And I'm excited about the opportunity for everyone listening today to learn more about your book and to have a chance to read it themselves. Just out of curiosity, there's a lot of things that we're dealing with in the world right now. We have COVID, we're in the middle of a pandemic. Do you see any correlations with your book and how it could apply to what's going on today?
Absolutely, because many people are having to pivot right now. Okay, you've either lost a job or even your positions may have been downgraded. I've been there, got a t-shirt. Okay, so what my book is saying to you is, just because things happen in life doesn't mean you can't pivot, but you gotta have a plan. And a lot of times people can't come up with that plan because, first of all, they can't understand that sometimes things happen to you in life for a reason. So if you've lost a position, perhaps that position wasn't for you long term. It may have been only temporary, or you may have lost it as a push towards what you're supposed to be doing, your true passion, your true talent, your happy place. Okay? And many people were not in their happy place before this pandemic hit. And so now this pandemic is just unveiling their truths, their happy place, their passion. And that's where this book is going to come in and help you at this time, help you come up with that game plan to get to your happy place, to get to the place that you're supposed to be so that you can be the MVP of your life.
I love it, Sora Crook. I absolutely love it. Pivot, game plan, get to that happy place. Thank you so much for your time today. Sora Crook, tell everybody how they could learn more about you and how they could find your book.
Well, go to my website at www.terrycrook, and that's CROOK, the only legal crook that has come to you today, okay? www.terrycrook.com is my website. You can order my book from my website, and it's on Amazon.com. So you can go to Amazon.com and look for Terry Crook, CROOK, and you can go to, I'm on social media at Terry Crook Media on Facebook, or Terry Crook, at Terry Crook And then you can go to, I'm on Twitter at Terry Crook 5, and I'm on Instagram at terrycrook.crook. terrycrook.crook.
Thank you, Soror. We so appreciate you joining us today.
It's been an honor, and thank you. You got me smiling, girl. I'm feeling good about my it's only halftime.
It's only halftime. We got
That's right. That's right.
You got to have a plan and you got to pivot.
Got to have a plan and you got to pivot. And when you get that plan, let me just add, you get that plan, get you an accountability partner, honey, to make sure you stick to that plan, okay?
Amen.
Yes.
Amen.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Soror.
Thank you. Mwah. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
See you at the goal line.